Mm. Hey, what's up, dude? What's going on? I just thought it would be easier for me to lay down, kick back, than just sit up and try to play attention. Ooh, I like that. Play attention. Instead of paying attention. You get it? You get it? You get it? I'm playing attention. I think a lot of us do that a lot of the time. But yeah, it's a beautiful Saturday. I took a nap for like 3 hours today. Didn't do anything. I mean, anything. I sat on my ass. I watched some shows this morning. I watched like a 2.5 hour discussion with like Rupert Sheldrake and a couple other people about like the soul and whether or not the human consciousness can reside outside the body, and a couple historical discussions. Yeah, it was a what you would just call a typical Saturday for me, just being lazy. I intended to get things done. I intended to get up and organize my garage and, to write out some of the. I have like these ideas to write out these podcasts I want to do, but I didn't do it, and it's okay. And that's, I guess, at the root of this discussion here. I don't know, how much time do we have, and how much energy do we have to do what we need to do? There are times we can burn the candle at both ends. I believe it was Emily Dickinson that said that in her poem. Said a candle burned at both ends burns twice as bright, but it will not last the night. Hey, that's not how it goes, but it's something like that. And that's the idea. The light will not last the night. You burn out faster. It's that old. I'd rather burn out than fade away. Def Leppard. Um, we we have options. We can burn very slowly, and we can take our time. We can use our energy wisely, or we can just totally burn ourselves out. Sometimes I'll be able to work like all week long with just, basic sleep. And then out of the blue, it's like, I need a nap. I'm tired. Our brains are set to like, I don't know, the way that our brains are set up, it seems that we can set aside our need for sleep for a while, and eventually it catches up to us, and then we need to catch up. And it's fascinating to me because you could see that as very similar to the way that we deal with our emotions in general, right? You put your emotions up on the shelf. Say over the last year, I've lost a lot of loved ones, or people that I knew anyway. My mom's mom, I lost my mom. We just lost our friend Nate a few weeks back to an overdose. And all these things, you're just like, oh, another death, and you can kind of put it on the back burner. But eventually, you've got to process all these things. And not just deaths, of course, but just life circumstances, finances, the things that burden us, the shit that we know we've got to deal with. There are certain things that I need to take care of in my life that I have not accomplished. Usually paperwork, financial shit, or starting a new business like I want to do, writing out my itinerary and my plans. And when you do those things, you feel so good. Making that phone call, I mean, I don't know anybody who likes making phone calls, right? But there are some out there who are really good. I guess the type A personality, the kind of person who just gets shit done. We need people like that. I need people like that. I need to hire somebody like that to deal with my shit. I used to be the kind of guy who thought, well, we should all be able to do everything ourselves, or, jack of all trades kind of thing. And I still do believe we should be exposed to knowing how to do these things. But I totally understand why people have servants or hire, housekeepers, or, it's not just because they're lazy. It's because their minds don't work that way because they're thinking about other things, It's like I can't imagine having like a housekeeper and a bookkeeper. It could change my life. Or even just an assistant who could do writing for me, write down my thoughts. I mean, shit, these days we've got this. I was thinking about this earlier as I was teaching my son about coprolites, which are fossilized turds. And I was like, oh yeah, they found a voice recorder in an ancient coprolite. It's like, what's a coprolite? And so I had to go on to that explanation. But something this simple, little voice recorder. It allows us to take notes about groceries, or we can talk about some existential dread that we have. It could be anything, and be able to play it back later in its full glory. Something that we take for granted because we've had it. Most of us have had it our whole lives, the ability to record things. When I was a kid, I was kind of a fanatic about tape recorders. Like, I could never afford the mini tape recorders, so I'd use the big ones. But I recorded my thoughts. I recorded my friends and I tripping when we were teenagers. I mean, I've got some very interesting recordings from way back in the day. And it's because I like to capture those thoughts that I have at the time. But I just think about how long our ancestors couldn't do that. They weren't able to record, but even if they could write it down, they might not know how to write, or, know how to, the language of the time. But before that, how frustrating it must have been. Before people had a language, before people had writing, to try to communicate something that in your mind, you're like, God damn it, why can't this guy understand it? But you don't even have the words to formulate, damn it. You're just like, flustered because the person doesn't know what you mean. And it's just weird thinking about that. Just how lucky we are now to have the communication that we do, the ability to communicate the way that we do. And it's that very communication that has allowed us to flourish, write down equations, mathematics, and writing stories and helping to teach each other so we could have the Industrial Revolution, so we could have the digital revolution, so I could sit here and relax on a Saturday and record on my GoPro and show you my voice recorder, because all of this technology came from the minds of people who had the time to think and then put that thinking into action. So, in a nutshell, take the time to think. Take the time to relax. Make sure you get a good enough sleep. Drink your milk, go to school, don't do drugs. Or the Mr. T would say, drink your drugs, don't do milk. Yeah. Anyway, that's another one of my rambles from laying down with the blood flowing into my head rather than down out of my head. So perhaps I'm just a loopy human being with my own weird thoughts. And you'll just have to take that to the bank for what it's worth. About 49 cents Canadian. And I'm not even Canadian. See you next time.